The University of Westminster and Centre for Learning present Dealing with Difficult Situations. I'm Carolyn Gray, and we met when you attended the Dealing with Difficult Situations workshop. Today, I'd like to take you through 2 additional techniques for dealing with difficult situations. The first of these 2 techniques will help you to listen more effectively to customers when you're dealing with a difficult situation. And the second technique, which has 6 steps, will help you to respond in a more structured, more confident way. Here we go. Both of the techniques we're going to talk about today are founded on the idea that the map is not the territory. Now, we talked about this when we met, and just to recap, this is the idea that of all the things that each person experiences, we can only express and explain a small fraction of them. So when you're dealing with someone in a difficult situation, what you're hearing is the map, it's not the full experience. So there are going to be lots of things that the person isn't going to be able to tell you about. Now, the first technique, which we'll call fact finding, is about helping the person to give you a better and better map of their experience. Okay, so these 3 simple steps are going to help you to get all the facts. They're going to help you to really listen to your customer and truly understand their circumstances. And best of all, they're going to help you to convey to that other person that you're really listening and that you're really making an effort to understand what's been going on for them. Step 1. Step 1 is called the story, and it's about exploring facts and feelings. So this is going to involve listening really carefully and asking really good questions, including questions like, please tell me what happened. What happened next? What did you do then? Asking sensible, neutral questions and really listening carefully to what the person says can help you to diffuse their frustration and can help to create the feeling that you're truly listening to them and that you're truly going to respond to them as an individual. Step 2 is about the detail. It's about gathering further facts and it's about gathering evidence. Now, at this stage, you're going to be asking questions and listening to the answers, which is what you did before, but this time you're going to be drilling down into that little bit more detail. So you might find yourself saying things like, you mentioned that this has happened before. Did you happen to keep that email? Do you have your letter with you right now? The key thing here is that you're looking for information that corroborates what the person is telling you, that perhaps clarifies it and creates more detail around it, but you're doing that in a way that doesn't challenge the person's credibility. And this is particularly important, that you not challenge someone's credibility, even if you're not at all sure that what they're telling you is the whole truth. And now the third step is about gathering the meaning. And within this step, you're going to be considering issues and you're also going to be considering interests. Now, this step is an interesting one because sometimes it's explicit in your conversation with the customer, but there are going to be other times when it's not explicit at all. In either event, you're going to need to think about how the customer interprets the facts and the details, what issues that particular situation raises for them, which of course will be a very individual thing, why the situation is important to them, and in what way the situation is important to them, the university's policy, and of course who else is affected. And these last 2 things are really important because of course the decisions that you make, you can't make in isolation. Whatever decision you make when you're dealing with a difficult situation, however you choose to handle that, will have an impact on other people, on other customers in similar circumstances, and of course on your colleagues within the university. Okay, so those are the 3 steps which should help you to get a greater degree of listening and a greater degree of understanding with your customers. Now, once you've done all of that, of course, you're going to be then in a situation where you need to respond. And you are absolutely the best judge of how to respond to the customer in any particular situation. And how you respond to the customer, of course, is going to depend very much on that customer and on the conversation that you've had. So why am I presenting these 6 steps? Well, sometimes your best instincts, if the situation is very contentious, if it's very difficult, or if you're tired or just not on, just not at your best for whatever reason, you might get stuck. And I've noticed that when I get stuck, A simple structure can sometimes help me to get unstuck. So that's why I want to show you this. Okay, so this simple structure has 6 steps. The first step is the affirmative step, and in the affirmative step you are going to pick out some important part of what the customer has said that you feel that you can honestly agree with. So the example that I'm going to use as I talk about these 6 steps is the example we talked about in the workshop, which was of the customer who arrives a little bit late with their coursework and they're too late to submit it into the on-time bin. Okay, so the affirmative statement in that situation may be something like, I agree with you that it's very important to be fair. Step 2 is a softening statement, and the softening statement is really the statement in which you show empathy, in which you show you understand that other person's position. So that might be something like, and I understand that you've done your very best to get your coursework in on time. Step 3 is a flag. And with that flag, you're going to indicate that you have something further to say. And typical flag words include things like but and the thing is, similar things. It's usually best to avoid but if you can. Step 4 is the reasons for your position. So you're giving the reasons in particular because you want to help the person to understand and anticipate what you're going to say next. So in this example, the reason might be almost everyone who misses the deadline has a really good reason why that's happened, but we also have to be fair to all the students who hand their work in on time. Step 5 is the negative statement, and this is really the crux of the matter because the negative statement is the bit in which you say no. So, I can't put your work in the on-time bin. Step 6 is the offer, and this is the offer of a compromise or an alternative if a compromise or alternative is appropriate. And if it is, it's always a good idea to give that compromise or alternative simply because many people feel frustrated and can behave quite badly when they feel powerless. But the offer of a compromise, or better yet, the offer of an alternative, puts choice back with the customer, helps them to feel less powerless in the situation, even though they're not going to get what they want. So, for example, you can still subwork your work now if you want, and at least then you know it's in. Or if you prefer, you can take until 6 o'clock to look it over one last time. Now, at that point in the case of work into the on-time bin or work into the late bin, you're going to want to make it very clear that 6 o'clock is an absolute deadline, because it's 24 hours after the main deadline. So it's very important to make that clear. And if you think it's appropriate, it may be the opportunity as well inside the conversation about the offer to give the customer information about mitigating circumstances. Okay, all right, so let's string all of those things together. And you might come up with something like, I agree with you that it's very important to be fair, and I understand that you have done your very best to get your coursework in on time. The thing is, almost everyone who misses the deadline has a really good reason why that's happened. And we also have to be fair to all the students who hand in their work on time. So I'm sorry, but I can't put your work in the on-time bin. You can still submit it now if you want, and at least then you'll know it's in. Or if you prefer, you can take it till 6 o'clock tomorrow to look it over one last time. I hope this short presentation has been a helpful review for you. If you'd like to get in touch anytime to ask a question or to give a comment or even to run a situation past me, I'd be very happy to hear from you. You can ring me at the Centre for Learning office on 0208 385 7511, or if you prefer, you can email me care of sharose@centreforlearning.co.uk. Bye for now.